Once upon a time, there was a man who had 3 sons. The youngest son was called Knock. He was often despised and ridiculed, and if anything happened, no one paid any attention to him. One day, the eldest son wanted to go into the forest to cut firewood. Before he left, the mother gave him a delicious egg tart and a bottle of wine to take with him to eat and drink when he was hungry and thirsty. As soon as he entered the forest, a little old man with white hair greeted him and said, "Please give me a piece of cake from your bag and let me drink a sip of wine." He and number 39 so hungry and thirsty. But the wise guy replied, "If I give you my bread and wine, I will have nothing myself, you can go your way." Then he left the old man standing there and continued. After chopping down the tree for a while, he suddenly slipped and the axe cut his arm, so he had to go home to bandage it. That accident was caused by the little old man with white hair. Then came the second son who went to the forest. The mother also gave an egg tart and a bottle of wine just like she gave her eldest son. He also met the same little old man with white hair. He also asked him for a piece of cake and a sip of wine. But the second son said it sounded very reasonable. "I Don and number 39 have anything I give you, so you can go on your way." Then he left the old man standing there and continued. How could he avoid being punished? He had just cut a few times when he suddenly swung the axe and cut right into his own leg, so he had to carry it home. Then the idiot also asked his father, "Father, please let me go to the forest to cut wood and see what happens." The father replied, "Your 2 brothers were injured in that incident, Don and number 39. Go. What do you know about going to the forest to chop wood?" The fool kept asking until he finally got it. The father said, "If you want to go, just go. Only through failure and pain can one become wise." Mother gave him a boiled cake made with ash and a bottle of sour beer. As soon as he entered the forest, the little white-haired old man walked up to greet him and said, "Please give me a piece of cake and a sip of wine from the bottle. I and number 39 am so hungry and thirsty." The idiot replied, "I only have ash cakes and sour beer. If you think it and number 39's okay, please sit down and eat with me." The 2 sat down. When the fool took the cake and put it in ashes, it turned out to be a delicious egg cake, and the sour beer turned into delicious wine. After eating somewhere, the old man said, "Because you are kind and willing to share your wealth with others, I also want to bless you. There is an old tree over there. No matter how much you look down, you will see something among the roots." Right after that, the old man said goodbye. The idiot walked around the old tree. As soon as the tree fell, there was a goose with real gold feathers among the roots. He picked up the goose and carried it with him to an inn to stay for the night. The owner has 3 daughters. When her father saw the goose, he wondered what kind of bird it was and just wanted to get one of its golden feathers. The eldest girl thought to herself, "How could I ever have a chance to pluck a feather?" When the idiot went out, she immediately grabbed the goose and number 39's wing, but as soon as she touched it, both her fingers and hand were stuck to it and could -39 get out. A moment later, the second girl stepped forward with the intention of plucking a golden feather. As soon as she touched her sister and number 39's body, she was stuck on her sister and number 39's body. Finally, the third girl stepped forward and was about to pluck a goose feather. At that moment, the two older sisters screamed, "Get away! Oh my God, get away!" The youngest sister didn't and #39 understand why she had to stay away. She thought to herself, "Whatever the sisters can do, I can do too." Then she jumped forward, and as soon as she touched her sisters, she was also stuck in it, so all three of her had to sleep with the goose that night. The next morning, the goose carried the goose away without paying any attention to the three girls sticking to the goose. The girls had to follow behind, letting him turn right or left as he pleased. The priest met the group of people in the middle of the field. The priest said, "Dawn and number 39, you know any shame, you girls who are being captured by crows? How can it be possible to drag a flock of men along in the middle of the field in broad daylight like that?" Father immediately grabbed the youngest girl and number 39's hand and tried to pull her back. As soon as he touched her, he could N and #39 escape. Dad was stuck right there and kept following behind. A moment later, the keeper of the sacred objects arrived. Seeing the priest following closely on the heels of the three girls, he was very surprised and exclaimed, "Oh my God! Where are you going in such a hurry? I remember that today you have to baptize another child." The custodian ran to grab his father and number 39's sleeve and was also stuck. The five people were walking low and high like that when two farmers came back from the fields carrying hoes. The priest called them and asked them to pull him and the person holding the sacred objects out. But as soon as the two farmers touched the keeper of the holy objects, they were stuck to it. So all 7 people had to follow behind the goose holding the goose. Then the idiot went to the capital. The king who ruled the country at that time had a daughter. She was so serious that no one could make her laugh. The king commanded all over the world that whoever made the princess laugh would be allowed to marry her. Hearing the news, the fool also hugged the goose and the group of people walked haphazardly in front of the princess. It was so funny to her to see 7 people lurking behind each other, so she burst out laughing as if she didn't and #39 want to stop. Then the fool asked to marry the princess. But the king did not like that son-in-law and used one excuse after another to refuse. The king set a condition for the fool to find and lead a person who could drink an entire cellar of wine before he could marry the princess. The idiot immediately thought of the little gray-haired old man who could help him with this matter. He went into the forest, where the tree was cut down. He saw a man sitting with a sad and drunk face. The idiot asked that person why he was so sad. That person replied, "I and number 39 am so thirsty. I and number 39 they've been drinking, but I and number 39 am still thirsty. I can and number 39 stand plain water. Actually, I drank a whole barrel of wine, but it was like a grain of salt." The idiot said, "Then you can help me. Come with me, you can drink until you and number 39 bored." Then the fool led him to the king and number 39's wine cellar. This guy jumped to the huge barrels of wine, drank and drank and drank until his stomach was full. In less than a day, he drank an entire cellar of wine. The fool asked to marry the princess again. The king was very upset. A nonsense guy that. Everyone named Knock Guy actually wanted to marry his daughter? The king gave new conditions. The fool must find a person capable of eating a mountain of cakes. The idiot sat thinking for a moment and then went into the forest. Still at the old tree stand, there was a man sitting with his hands tied around his waist with a leather strap. His face looked sad. He said, "I ate a cake, but it was nothing to me. For a person who eats like me, my stomach is still flat. I have to tighten it to make it smaller, so I don and number 39. Starved to death." The fool was so happy that he immediately said, "Get up and come with me, you will have enough to eat." The fool led him to the dragon yard. The king ordered the entire country and number 39's flour to be transported to the palace, and then ordered him to bake a giant mountain of cakes. The forest guy came out, then started eating. In just one day the whole mountain of cakes disappeared. The third time the fool asked to marry the princess. Once again the king tried to find a way to avoid it, so he forced the fool to find a boat that could travel both on land and in water. The king said, "If you land by that boat, you can marry my daughter." The idiot went straight into the forest. The little old man with white hair, whom he invited to eat cake before, was sitting there. The old man said, "I drank and ate for you. Let him give you the boat, all of which he did for you, because you treated him kindly." Then the gray-haired old man gave the idiot a boat that could travel both on land and in water. When the king saw the boat docking, there was no way he could keep his daughter anymore. The wedding was held lavishly. After the king died, Nock succeeded the throne and lived happily with his wife. Thank you for joining us for today's fairy tale. We hope these stories bring joy and meaning to your day. If you love our channel, please hit the subscribe button so you won't miss any exciting tales. Wishing you a good night and sweet dreams. See you in the next story.